Hello, good to see you again. Today we're going to be making a wild white sourdough. This is going to be a completely different process to the sourdoughs that I did in the last video. This is going to be a sourdough with a much higher hydration, which is just another baker's speech for a lot more water within the dough. The starter is not as thick as the last one. This is a very loose starter. This is made with 30 grams of starter, 30 grams of loose starter like this, to 200 grams of water, warm water, not real hot, just like tepid, and 200 grams of flour, given a right good mix so there's no bits of flour in that it's thin, and then it's left to rise. What you need to do really with this one to make sure that the starter is as robust as it can be is mark along the sides the height of the sourdough starter and watch it rise, and then when it gets to a point where it's just started to fall again, you need to take 30 grams out again, mix it with 200 of flour, 200 of water, give it a right good mix, and let the process start again. Once you kind of know the rise and fall, which is at a regular point, you know that your starter's at the strongest. This is what it looks like now, as I'm just about to, that's how it should look, real bubbly. In fact, this has gone a little bit beyond, but it's still in a great condition. So that's what it should look like very wobbly. So for this loaf, the ingredients we need, I'll just pop this on here. We need 100 grams of this starter. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Doesn't matter if it's slightly over. That's 100 grams of the starter to 350 grams of nice warm water. Like, again, tepid water, not real warm but not cold neither. So I need 350 there. And you see this is a lot of water. It becomes a very sticky. Oop, I've just gone a little bit over there. Which you don't mind, I mean you can just do 3. It just makes it with a bigger hydration. There we go, 350 of water and a whisk. No chopping like the last one. This one just dissipates really easy, really quickly. There you go, job's a good one. Then in goes the flour, not the salt at this moment in time. The salt goes in at a later stage. So all you need is your starter, water and flour. 500 grams of flour for this loaf. I'll give this a... I started off with my spatula trying to get as much flour into the mixture as possible, but it gets to a stage where really you're better off using your hands for mixing this dough. There we go. That's just got it together roughly. Clear that away, and then just get your hands in there and give it a right good. Trying to get all the flour incorporated into the dough so there's no flour spots. A little bit of a just there. All it is, like I say, making sure there's no flour. Like I say, look, it's a very loose dough. It's a bit more technical, this bread, in comparison to the cheddar sourdoughs I did in the last video. This one requires a little bit more focus when you're doing it. Anyway, once that's nicely mixed together, get the dough off your fingers, your hands. This is a bread that I'm continually perfecting because the variables to get a decent loaf, you know, it depends on temperature, the type of flour that you've got using, whether it's a very soft flour, and how much water you've got in and how much water you really need for it to hold. So there's a lot of variables together. So if you manage to try this for the first time and it works out exactly as you hoped, you've done extremely well, because this is a bread that depends what type of crumb you want. If you wanted a crumb with lots of air rolls, big air rolls, then you need to put more water in. If you want a more denser bread, as like a standard bread, if you want it a bit denser, then you use less water. So, you know, the parameters there with the hydration, you know, so it might be worth starting with a low hydration, maybe of around about 60% of the flour, 60% of the water to flour, and then building it up from there. But right, so we've got the rough dough started there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the dough from the outside like this and just lift it over like that. It's just like the first fold really. It's very sticky dough. And then lift the other side up, lift that over like that. I'm going to wash my hands with this. And that's it now for 40 minutes, say 30 minutes to 40 minutes. Once you've got the mixture together, you need to give it a rest. It's an important part, this, of giving it a rest. You can't really jump this stage, because it allows. I'm not a scientist in relation to this baking, but from what I understand, it gives the dough the opportunity for the proteins in the dough to really, you know, combine. But it is a very important stage, this the initial rest. So we'll leave that for 30 to 40 minutes and then I'll get back to you. See you in a bit. Right, Once all the ingredients are combined, we need to give it a rest for at least 30 to 40 minutes. It's a really important stage where the proteins come together. Once we've got all the ingredients combined, to get thoroughly combined, we need to give it a rest for 30 to 40 minutes. It's an important stage, this. I understand the process that occurs is what you call autolysis, and that's where the proteins come together and create a strength. So that's very important. So we'll leave it for now for 30 to 40 minutes, and after that we'll come back and we'll go on to the next stage. See you in a bit. 40 minutes have gone by. The next stage is we need to add the salt, because there's no salt in this at the moment. So the way I do it first, I always put in the water first. And what we need is 25 grams of water. 25 grams of water to 10 grams of salt. Here we go. This is just ordinary table salt that I'm using here. You can use ground down sea salt, which I think it would be a little bit nicer, really, I think. But I don't have any to hand today, so it's just the regular table salt. And then all you do is you put your hand in and you just squelch it together. If you are using ground sea salt or rock salt, and it's, you know, very much more grainy, if at the end of this process you don't feel that the salt has truly combined, you know, that there's still some like little bits left, don't worry about it. So long as you're coming together at first, like when you start doing this, it starts to split the dough. It starts to, but the more that you combine, the more you keep going, the more it starts coming together again. There we go, it's coming together. Comes together nicely, that. There we go. Clean a bit of the new salted dough. There we go. Great. Give that a bit of a turn. There we go. What I do once that's incorporated, I'll do a fold, a stretch and fold. So put my fingers into the back here, as you can see, underneath, and then I just give it a little gentle stretch and then fold it across. Turn it around, fingers going down the bottom again, to the bottom, and just a little stretch and then fold. There we go. Now, what's going to happen is dough is going to be entering what is called its bulk phase. So for 4 hours, the dough is just going to go through a series of stretch and fold, just like the one that I've just done, stretching, folding it over, stretching and folding it over, and it'll be one set of stretch and fold for every half an hour that goes by. Now, it's not a case of like after 4 hours the stretch and fold, right, you say it's 4 hours, no, that's done. It isn't. You've got to keep your eye on it all the time. You've got to try and make it, because what we're trying to do is create some physical strength to the dough, because the more strength the dough has, the more it will hold its shape when it comes to going in the oven right at the later stage. You want a dough that's going to hold its shape and not just splatter out everywhere. So this is a very important stage. So even after 4 hours, if you feel that it's still not quite there, just give it another stretch and fold or two. 40 minutes have gone by. Now it's a stretch and fold. At this stage, because like I say, it's sticky, what I do is get a little bit of water. A little bit of water helps in this, I found. Dip your hands in there, and then again just going down the back of the bowl and onto the bottom, and just give it a gentle stretch and fold it over like that. Turn again, fingers right down the bottom, fold, pull. There we go. And then what I do for the first two, I'll go along that way. And that way. Here we go. Because it's not very aerated at this moment in time, you don't have to be that, very gentle. And with it being still quite a loose dough, you can put more folds in the early stages, but as time goes by, as the strength develops, you'll find that at each round of stretch and fold, you might only be able to get two stretch and fold in. But we'll see that as time goes on. You'll be able to see how the dough becomes a much stronger dough. So that's it for another half an hour. See you in a bit. Here we are again. Time to get your fingers underneath, right underneath. Gentle stretch. Drag it across. Turn around. You see it's just kind of pulling back a little bit. There's no rush, you don't have to, get into straight there doing. So long as you manage to do is it's just relaxing a little bit now. Then again, back, underneath, pull, and over. And it's starting to just pull itself back a bit. But the important thing is to remain gentle when doing this. Well, back again. 30 minutes are gone. We're coming to the last couple of bits of fold and that. If you take a closer look, you can start to see some real big bubbles coming through. Just starting to bubble here, and this is why you have to be extra gentle with it, because you don't want all this air, or carbon dioxide actually I think it is, the fresh yeast eat the sugar in the flour, and they release carbon dioxide, and that's what fills these little holes. So I'm going to be as gentle as I can, but it's nothing to be afraid of. Saying this, this is what puts a lot of people off making this bread, is because they're frightened of messing it up at some stage. So what I'm going to do is gently lift it up from the bottom, and just gently lift over like that. There's the first one. You can see the bubble there, just like that sort of. And if I go this way again on top, it's good to have a little bit of variation in when you're doing this. It's all about just trying to fingers right under there. No. Sometimes it's a bit too tight. That's the structure, that's where it's getting the strength. That's why it won't go over again. Is because of the strength in the dough, which is, you know, it's been, this whole process has been about developing that strength in the dough so it can maintain its shape. See, oh, there's a big bubble, look. It just goes to show how aerated it is inside. Yeah. So now we'll leave that for half an hour, and I think if we do one more, shall I give it a fold over this way or just leave it? I think we'll leave it there. Another half an hour and we'll give it another further fold. See you in a bit. Hello, we're back. I've got to show you these because it's this is what it's all about, the activity in the bowl. And you can see, look at the size of that and that, and there's another one there and another one next to it. And there's one coming up here, and that tells me that the dough is highly active, which is great. So I'm gonna do one more stretch and fold with this, let it rest for about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll remove the dough onto the bench at that next stage. But at the moment we'll just give it one more, just to give it that little bit of extra strength. And put your hands in there nice and gently, roll it over. Just let that settle before I turn that. One more. Bring it down there. And give it a little. I think that's as far as it's going to go. It's just slipping back. Even if I try and anchor it, it's still moving back. So that's lovely and aerated. It's developed to strength. So we're going to leave that to rest for a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, and then we'll take it out and put it on the bench. Okie dokie. See. Right, the dough's had a bit of a rest. Now the next challenge is to get it from in here onto the bench, ready for its initial shaping. I always get a bit nervous. No matter how many times I've done this, I always get a little bit nervous because I can see how well it's structured and aerated, and we don't want to lose any of that aeration. You have to be a bit of some flour on your top. And then you get your scraper, and then it's about just teasing it. So it might be best to just go under my arm like that, and then just gently teasing it out. So you notice I'm just going from the back. Come around this way a minute, so you can see. Just teasing it out of the ball, so we don't lose any of that aeration. Just let gravity do the work with the help of the spatula at the end. There we go. You see, even with my best efforts, I still managed to get it right near the edge of the bench. Right. Now you don't want to be putting any flour on the top, because that'll stop it from sticking. That, some would say that I've heavily dusted that, but I think that's just like a light dusting. There has to be enough flour on the bench to stop this from sticking to the bench and enabling you to do the first thing. So the first one is, what we're going to do is create it into a round bowl for the initial shape. So I'll get a bit of flour on my fingers, so help me just pick it up, and then it's just a case of lifting it up. I'm not stretching it, I'm just lifting it up. A bit more flour on my fingers. Pull it up like that. Nice and gently. That one. Right, so now it's turn it over and gently, well, pushing it together like this. I'm concentrating. When I concentrate, I don't talk. So I'm concentrating in this. It's a bit different from when you do it yourself without the camera, then having to do it for the camera. Noticed I'm just getting a little bit of just right. That'll do. Now we have to leave it on the bench for again 20 minutes to half an hour. Everything is very slow pace, is this. Now this is what you call the bench rest. And the bench rest is a very important part of the process. So this is the first time it's been forced to try and hold some structure. It will eventually, it will drop down as time goes on. But that's looking okay for the time being. So we'll come back in about 20 minutes time or so, half an hour, when it's had a good bench rest, and then we'll go into the next phase of shaping. So I'll see you in a bit. Well, the dough has had its bench rest, and the next challenge is to shape this in the gentlest way that we can and get it into this Bannerton basket, which I'm using today. So first things first, I'm going to flour my Bannerton, because although it's not feeling that sticky at the moment, the danger of not flouring this substantially, you know, giving it a good flouring, is that as the loaf inside, once you've got your shaped dough into the Bannerton, it can become sticky inside, and the last thing you want is the dough, when you come to tip it out, that it's stuck inside, because then you end up with, or can end up with, a misshapen dough. Or a misshapen loaf. Right, it looks like Christmas in there, like. On the edge there, you can still see, like, if you just kind of look down there, you can see where it's just bare wicker. And what I try to do is make sure as much of that is covered as possible, because that's, if it's going to stick, that's where it'll stick. Right, So that has been, just have a little feel under. Right, I've got a bit of flour here. So now we're going to shape it. We're not going to move it, we're going to try and keep it where it is. And it's just a case of just opening it up a little bit. Not too much because we don't want to lose that aeration. Where's me? Hold up, get my bench nice for this. Oop. I'm throwing the I'm just getting a little bit of right. I'm not a professional baker, by the way. I don't do it for a living. So this is just as much of a sticking. I've seen this done with much more ease, with more flair. Now it's to get that into the middle and then stretch that over to there. Make sure I've got a bit of, there we go, and pull that down to there. And then it's a case of bringing it over like this. Oh, make it a bit tighter as we can. There we go. Right. This is just, and then roll it. I better clear my hands there. I think I need to do a bit of a rescue job there. It's because I'm trying to, a bit of flour, I think, to loosen it up. And then I'll put a little bit of flour over the top, so which way am I going? There we go. Over and straight in. There we go. This is the most stressful part. See, once it's in, this is why you don't want too much flour down, because it makes it hard for it when you're trying to tighten up. Right, I'll just put that aside. Now it's very aerated. I mean, if you just give it a little shake like that, you can see it wobbling. So it's got plenty of air in it, which is going to make it a very light loaf. I'm just hoping, again, because for me a lot of it is, you know, you do your best and then you hope, you know, you get a good result in the end. And I think that's looking alright. I think that's looking alright. The next challenge is when you tip it. And I'm going to cook it in a Dutch oven. This thing over here, I think I've showed you it before, I think, when in the first video. So I'm going to cook that in here, but I'm going to put that on some baking parchment before it goes in. So, right, there we go. It's in its basket now. It needs to go through a second proving stage. I because it's such a lively mixture, such a lively dough, I don't really want to leave it for more than an hour and a half before I tip it in, because I think an hour and a half is all it's going to need, otherwise it may overproof. So we'll leave it for an hour and a half. I'll keep an eye on it between an hour and a half, and then we'll put it in the oven. So I'll see you in a bit. Bye. Right, the dough's had about an hour and 20 minutes to prove. But looking at it, you know, there's some lovely big bubbles here, and I think it is. I'm just concerned I don't want to overproof it. So I think that's ready to go in. So Dutch oven has been in for about half an hour, getting all nice and warm. I'm gonna just slightly dust the bottom for when I tip it. Oh, comes out lovely, first time. Then I'll give it a give it a score. Very wet. And I'll pop that on the bottom bit. Although it looks as if it's just gone flat, I am quite hopeful. You think, oh, what happened to it? Where's all that? Well, it's had about 25 minutes in the oven. Let's see what it looks like. Whoa! Oh, that's just as I was kind of hoping. A nice oven burst. Let's get it back in to get a bit of colour. 20 minutes in there. Well, the bread's been in the oven for a total of 40 minutes now. So, oh, that looks lovely. Look at that. There's a lot of flour on, but that can come away. And that, I think, has been a bit of a success, I think. And we'll tell when we do the crumb shot, but from just looking at it as it is, I'm quite happy with that. Yeah. So we'll give it an hour or so to cool down, and then we'll have a look at the crumb. See you then. Well, the bread's cooked. It's just about looking at the crumb, and we'll give it a cut. Lovely thick crust. Oh, that sounds lovely. Look inside. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Could have been a bit more aerated, but no, that's okay. I'll accept that. What do you think? What do you think? Is it a nice bread? If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and a like. And if you want to see more bakes like this and what I've done so far, please subscribe. You know, it'd be lovely to have you on board. And so this, I hope the one thing is that these, doing these wild white, it is, because the hydration is so high, it frightens a lot of people off from having a go. And I just hope that, you know, this video might help other people who just don't have that confidence just to give it a piece by piece go, and if it don't work out, great, that's fine too, you know, because it's just a learning process. But yes, thank you for watching, and until the next time, bye.